We're back with a reading update, and that makes me so happy to feel like I am eating books again, because I feel like I've just been dormant for a long time. I went to New York a couple weeks ago for my best friend's law school graduation, and on that plane ride over, I read half of the new Melissa Broder, and then on my way out, on that plane ride back to Vancouver, I finished it. And that was Death Valley by Melissa Broder, like I said. And I'm sorry, but it was a flop. Like, I don't know if I had really high expectations because The Pisces was just such a standout novel for me, and I enjoyed it deeply from beginning to end. It was so innovative and super funny and smart. I just loved everything that she did there. And I read So Sad Today years and years ago, and at that point, at that time in my life, I was also like, oh my God, this is incredible. So I was anticipating something great, and it just wasn't. It was so one-dimensional, at least to me. Like, there was so much there. Like, the story was, compelling enough. It had all the right ingredients, but it just didn't taste that good. I don't know. I just thought it was such a mid read. Like, so the premise is we've got this woman in her 30s, and her father has experienced a really traumatic car accident that has put him in like a coma, and then he wakes up from the coma, but he's still in the hospital, and his condition or his like longevity is put in question, and so they're kind of in this like limbo. And her romantic life, she's also dealing with a partner who has a physical disability, and that obviously playing a role in their relationship and how she relates to him. And she also struggled with substance abuse, but we don't really know what led to that recovery, or we don't know how she got sober. We don't really know like what substance it is. Like, there was that alone is really intriguing and compelling, and there's not really any discussion around that at all. It's just like a fact of this character. And so I just feel like there's things that were introduced about this person that we don't really explore. So it's just like Melissa just like lists attributes of this character, but there's no actual like way in which that's explored further, or how that like manifests in a way that's like compelling and interesting to read about. Even just like her getting lost in the, oh my God, I'm doing such a bad job at explaining this book. But anyways, so because of all these things that are happening in the unnamed narrator's life, she thinks it's a good idea to escape, essentially, and spend some time in the desert. She ends up getting lost in the desert, and that's like most of the book is her like getting lost in the desert, and we've got some like surrealist elements, which like I don't dislike. I mean, if it's done right, like go off, like, exist inside a leaf a la Sheila Heti, like that's totally fine with me. But I just found that the way this was done was like kind of a cliche and just like a little bit cringe, for lack of a better word. It just did not land with me at all. I was just like, like there's so much there. And even it sort of also reminded me of The Woodwife, which is another like desert solo ranger woman trying to find herself kind of story with some surrealist elements that is so well done. So I highly point you to that direction if that's like the sort of book that you're into and that you like anticipate that Death Valley is going to be. But yeah, I just felt totally flat. I was just kind of like bored and like wanting this woman to like find her way out, or like I guess die in the desert. I don't know, but I was just like, this is not doing it for me. It just, like I said, I think it was missing some more depth. I think it was missing, or it was like not engaging with like a conversation or like the themes in a way that I would have liked. I don't know. I think maybe it's a matter of like having higher expectations. Like maybe if I'd never read Melissa Broder before, actually, no. I was going to say, even if I picked this up and I had no idea who the author is, I would have still been like, well, that was kind of a flop. Like, I could have spent that time reading something more compelling. But anyway, it was readable. Like, I did read it quite fast, like in 2, like, 5-hour plane rides. So, yeah, like, easy to digest, but just didn't, I mean, I literally forgot all the plot, really. And it was just a forgettable read, which sounds really harsh, but that's how I feel. And then I finished Nobody Is Talking About This by Miranda July. Freaking loved it. It was so wacky and weird, like I already mentioned in my previous vlog. And unlike the Melissa Broder, those stories are still percolating in there. And I think about it and I just chuckle at how like obscene and weird they were. But also, like I said, also in that video, just how human and interesting and compelling those stories were. I loved them. And I can't wait to read all fours. I've lent it to Eva, so I'm going to wait for her review. And yeah, that'll be a really fun summer read down the line. But yeah, it was just an interesting contrast because that was sort of like the compelling vibe that I wanted out of Melissa Broder that I just didn't get. But anyway, so yeah, and that was a very quick read also. It's a short, tiny, not a tiny, but like it's not a long read. So that was really fun to come back home to and finish that. And then I was in the mood to continue on that like weird, like not experimental, but like there's just a specific way of writing that is so like outside the box that I really enjoy, especially right now for some reason. And so instantly I thought of the Ali Smith that I had purchased around my birthday, I think, The Accidental. And it is incredible. I don't know why no one is talking about this. Well, it's kind of niche, so I understand why not everyone is reading this. But in my mind, I'm like, these sentences, chef's kiss, like the way that Ali Smith writes is just so my jam. Like I'm just so enamored with the way that she looks at her characters look at the world. It's just so poetic and beautiful and funny in like I also hate this word, but like in a like quirky kind of way. She also is such a master at writing like children's voices. I mean, she's so good at it. How to Be Both is a great example. And the Astrid, the 12-year-old in this novel, is so much fun to read. I love it. So endearing. Just so, I don't know, I just can relate to the way that she like interprets life as a young person. I don't know. I just really, really, really enjoy it. And this book follows a family that goes to Norfolk, I think. I'm not saying that right. Some town close to London for the summer. And this random person shows up and they essentially just let this gal walk on into their lives. And it's essentially the way that this person is bringing out certain dynamics and helping each family member in their own like distinct respective way. And she's very frank. The woman that enters her life, her name's Amber. She's super frank, very authentic, super interesting. You have no idea where she came from. You don't even know. She's kind of like a little bit of an unreliable narrator, very smart, quippy. And anyway, the book is told through the perspective of the 5 family members. So we've got Astrid, the 12-year-old, her older brother, who's like, I think about to finish high school, Magnus, Michael, their stepdad, and Estee, I think, or Eve, sorry. Eve is the name of the mom. And then Amber is the welcomed stranger, essentially. Anyways, so good. I'm like 150 pages in and I will keep you posted. But God, Ali Smith can really do no wrong. Yeah, I'm going to come back with better thoughts on this, but I am really, really enjoying it. And the 3 books by her that I have read so far, I mean, 2.5, I guess, have just been so singular, so interesting, unlike anything I've really read before. And it's exactly the kind of book that I love because it's just so stimulating and it just like literally stimulates all your senses and your intellect is just like, yeah. Such a terrible way to describe an author, but that's genuinely how she makes me feel. And I am itching to read this. Like when I'm at work, I purposefully eat in front of the computer so that my 30 minutes of like my lunch break, essentially, I can just read my book because and again, in the morning, cannot freaking wait to sit on that couch and read for like 20 minutes before I have to go to work. At night, I'm not watching any Housewives. I'm reading this book. So that's always a great sign. And I honestly haven't felt that this summer yet, or this break, I guess, because it's technically spring. And yeah, it just makes me really happy to be like itching to read what Allie is going to say next. That's just an amazing feeling. So for that alone, like 10 out of 10. Anyway, apart from that, some bookish or like reading adjacent events that I wanted to talk about is the fact that I have been going to, well, I'm going to say like I've been going to literary events when I've literally just gone to one, and I'm going to another one tonight. But tonight I'm seeing Billy Ray Belcourt. He is the author of Minor Chorus, another autobiography, and I'm blanking on the name, and a couple poetry collections. And he's just come out with another piece. So that is what this event is going to be for. I believe it's like a reading and then an interview. And I'm so excited about it. And because I told myself that this summer I would want to do more like cultural things, and particularly like in the bookish realm. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. And then last week I went to see a book launch of this author that I did not know anything about, but my friend Eva was like, you should come to this. And I was like, absolutely. And her book is called How It Works Out, and the author is Miriam Lacroix. And that was such an amazing experience. And just, yeah, book launch was a conversation between the author and their good friend. And then there was a reading with a mix of like drag performance. And it was just amazing. I had the best time. I cannot wait to read this book. It's a really fun experience to, I don't know, just like be immersed in like the literary world in like a physical, like embodied way, and just like meeting people. I actually met somebody who watches my videos, so hi if you're watching. So that was really cool too. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun to be in that like Vancouver community and like experience it in the flesh, if you will. Maybe I'll film at the Billy Ray Belcourt event, although I doubt it because I'm just bad at filming or like even just taking pictures of those things when I'm like out and about. It's like my phone doesn't really exist. So question mark, maybe I will post some stuff about the event tonight, but I will surely discuss tomorrow when we see each other again. But yeah, those are my reading updates so far, and that's what I've been up to when I'm not sitting back there reading. We have finished The Accidental. It's been a few days since we last talked, and I'm so sad it's over. I loved it so much. I knew that the like really great impression that this book made on me initially when we first spoke was just going to continue, and I freaking love Allie Smith. I never thought I would say that because I was really like intimidated by this author, and then that like intimidation turned into like, I'm not gonna like her work, not gonna be my jam. It's gonna be like how should a person be a la Sheila Heti, like rage read kind of thing, and that just could not be farther from the truth. I deeply loved Artful, which was my introduction to Allie Smith. Then I read How to Be Both, was completely blown away, and The Accidental, I think, might be my favorite, I want to say. I mean, it was just so well done. I don't even know how or like where to start in talking about this book. Allie Smith just has such a singular voice, and there's something really like infectious and fun and inventive about her writing that is like a through line, or is like a way to describe her work, and something that all the books that I have read of her so far share in common, and this was no different. Like there's just something, yeah, like so infectious about it. You just want to keep on reading. Like for me, it's like really compelling and beautiful writing, sentence to sentence. You're just like in like immense like enjoyment. Like I could not wait to come home and read in the morning. I was so excited to see, you know, like how she was going to make me chuckle or just really like appreciate a sentence or look up a word I didn't know. And yeah, it was just a really just joyful reading experience, full of like awe and wonder and just really appreciating and getting to know these people or this family that felt so incredibly real. Like that's another good, I guess, Ali Smith descriptor. Like the way that woman brings characters to life is incredible. I mean, it's truly just done in such an artful and believable and hyper real kind of way. Like she just captures like the inner monologue that we as humans have so well, and it's in a way that's fun to read. And yeah, they just felt so, by they, I mean like all the characters just felt so incredibly real and humane, which in contrast, and like not to put it down even more, but this book like was like the ultimate, I guess, goal when it comes to like bringing a character to life through the inner monologue that I felt was hugely lacking in Death Valley, for example. Like those characters to me just felt really flat and just one-dimensional and not super like excavated and explored in the way that Ali Smith is just like so great at doing. Like that's, I think, how I would describe her work. It's just, she has just such a masterful way of like bringing to life the human psyche in a way that's just, again, really compelling, really like, yeah, just fun and intriguing to read about constantly. I can't wait to read more of her work now. It was just so great. And another thing too that has really stood out to me both in The Accidental as well as How to Be Both is the way that she writes child characters. Like it's so great, so believable, not cringe at all. Like she just nails it. Like I was gonna say she nails it every time, but at least like the two examples that I have, like truly she's nailed both of those child characters where they're just so endearing and so sweet. And both Astrid and George, I just like want to give those girls like a hug. Like they're so endearing and sweet and I just love them. I think I said this already too, but I love how submersive she can be. Like she just takes this really like a bit like slightly like boring classic white middle class family who's like kind of unhappy and there's like a lack of cohesion between them, and she like turns that like familiar archetype on its head, introduces a like third party into the mix and just like explores those relationships as well as the characters' relationships to themselves in a way that was just so interesting as a reader, that I just absolutely loved this book. I think I already explained the plot when I told you that this is what I was reading. But yeah, like on its head, you're like, okay, like what, like how is this going to make me continue to flip the pages? You know, it's just like not the most exciting story, but just you wait, you are in for such a treat. And yeah, I think this is probably the best read I've consumed this year, I think. Yeah, it's certainly up there. Freaking loved it. So after this delightful read, I was like, should I just grab like another Ali Smith and just go to the library? But I was like, okay, no, probably should pace myself and really save Ali Smith for a rainy day. And yeah, try and like parse out my reading of Ali's oeuvre. But yeah, she's just so witty and just so smart. I love her. Anyway, so yeah, I was like, okay, I probably shouldn't do that. So I went into my physical TBR and I saw that I had this art. It's not on ARC anymore. This is out already. But it's A Leopard Skin Hat by Anne Sayre. And I honestly shouldn't even be talking about this because I've read like, how many pages did I read? Yeah, I read 5 pages on the bus, but I'm excited. I feel like this is gonna be good. I think I've read you the back before, but I'll read it again. A Leopard Skin Hat, maybe the French writer Anne Sayre's most moving novel yet, hailed in LaPointe, I don't know what that is, as a masterpiece of simplicity, emotion, and elegance. It is a story of an intense friendship between the narrator and his close childhood friend, Fanny, who suffers from profound psychological disorders. A series of short scenes paints the portrait of a strong-willed and tormented young woman battling many demons, and of the narrator's loving, anguished attachment to her. Anne Sayre poignantly depicts the bewildering back and forth between hope and despair involved in such a relationship, while playfully calling into question the very form of the novel. Written in the aftermath of the death of the narrator's little sister, A Leopard Skin Hat is both a celebration of a tragically foreshortened life and a valedictory farewell, written, sorry, I said that weird, written in Anne Sayre's signature style. I don't know what her signature style is. I think she has another book called The Beginnings or Beginners or something like that I sold. Yeah, The Beginners, that I sold quite a bit at the bookstore, but I have not read any of her work, but I'm looking forward to this and I really like the cover. As for other bookish updates, speaking of the bookstore, you might be seeing it this summer because I will be picking up a few shifts here and there, and there's also, which I don't think I'll film that because I'm gonna just be shy, but there's a few literary events that I'll be selling books for on behalf of the bookstore, like after my 9 to 5. So I'm really excited about that, just because it's like the perfect combination of selling books and meeting people, but also like consuming something interesting. Like I've worked last summer a few book launches or like book events, even of like authors whose work I was unfamiliar with, or like areas that I just wouldn't naturally gravitate towards, but hearing an author talk about their work or just be in those like literary spaces is really fun and like nourishing for my brain. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. Speaking of literary events, I went to see Billy Ray Belcourt. Now, I must confess that I saw him on several occasions come into the bookstore, and I don't know why for the life of me, I just like couldn't like say that I'm a huge fan of his or like talk to him in a way that made it known that I knew who he was. Like I was always like polite and nice and like, you know, offered him my help whenever he went into the bookstore and like checked him out. I don't know why. I just like found him kind of intimidating for some reason. Could not be farther from the truth. I went to a event of his because his short story collection Coexistence is out, and oh my God, he was so endearing and so sweet, and it was like just such a beautiful talk between him and another friend / author. And yeah, it was just, again, just really nourishing for the soul. And yeah, it was lovely also to share that with the lovely Colleen, who I met in the flesh, and that was also super lovely. I will link her channel downstairs. So yeah, just going to those events is great. I am loving the fact that I'm making that sort of like part of my routine. Also, I wasn't able to go, but my public library has a lot of free events and author talks and just like, yeah, literary events. So I would recommend, if you also are like, oh, I would love to go and participate in my like physical community, like how could I do that? I'd honestly suggest participating or like getting the newsletter from your public library, because they might be putting up like free events or just, yeah, events or advertising events in general in your area. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. That's bookish adjacent. That has just been super, super lovely. So yeah, that is it. I am going to dinner, hence why I'm dressed like this. I don't just like hang out in a little like black choking top like this. But anyways, I think that is all that I wanted to share. I'll let you know how we get on with A Leopard Skin Hat. And oh, I also got, actually, I'm gonna go get it. Hold on. Okay, I might be repeating myself, but the owner of Pulp Fiction, which is a bookstore here, we were talking about our shared love for Ali Smith, and he recommended that I check out Italo Calvino. And so I found If on a Winter's Night a Traveler, which is supposed to be a very trippy book. I found this last time I was in there, and I'm really looking forward to reading this, probably maybe after I read this. I don't know why I say that, because I'm such a mood reader that I might not want to pick this up until next year. Who knows? It's got quite a bit of a cult following, I believe. And yeah, it should be an interesting read for sure. And I really love the cover. It's very nice. And then I ordered from where I used to work, My Life and My Life in the 90s, because the lovely Lindsay from In and Dove posted I don't know if it was a story or like an actual post of certain quotes or passages from this book. And I was like, oh, that's so beautiful. Oh my goodness, I need to have this and like read it myself and underline. So thank you for influencing me. And yeah, this came in a couple days ago and I'm so stoked to have this in my possession. I tried to find it used, but I was unsuccessful, but also impatient. So I just ordered it, or instead of just waiting for the book to find me at some point down the line in a used bookstore. So yeah, those are my 2 recent acquisitions. I feel like I may have shared this already, but sorry if you're seeing this twice. So that's what's on the horizon reading wise. And if I'm being honest, I think I'm probably gonna read this next. I in fact wanted to read this today on my way to a Palestinian talk that I went to earlier this morning, but I couldn't find my highlighter, and I feel like I want to highlight or like have some pen or something while I'm reading this. So I was like, can't be done. And in fact, I actually just ended up listening to like rainy sounds on my AirPods as I just like people watched both on the bus and out the window. So I didn't actually end up reading, hence why I literally just read 5 pages. And then I was like, I'm just gonna sit on this bus, listen to my little rain sound, and just like disassociate for half an hour. And that's what I did. Anyways, that's such a weird place to end this video. Tell me what you listen to when you want to disassociate or just like let your mind do its thing and yeah, not be like conducting it one way or another. But anyways, oh my God, such a tangent. I am gonna go off to dinner now. I hope all of you are having a really lovely week or weekend. I'm not sure when I'm gonna post this. And me and my sleeping cat wish you a lovely day. And I'll see you soon. Bye.